Okay, here we go. Um, so what is Nearpod? Well, basically, Nearpod is a learning app, and our district has purchased the license for complete use. So you have the full functionality of this app. And just like other learning apps like Edpuzzle or Padlet or even like Kahoot, you can create activities for your students to complete, and you can collect information about what they're learning. So related directly to your instruction. What kinds of activities? I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But the one of the really cool things about it is it's also a Google Slides extension. So if you have that Google Slides extension downloaded onto your account, which I'll show you how to do that later on if you need to, it's really easy. You can actually create your presentations through Google Slides, which is way faster and easier than having to go onto some website to create your experience. So that's my favorite way to do it, and that's the way that I like to do it. It's also a great tool for engaging specifically in direct instruction. So the part where the teacher talks and the students just kind of have to sit there, like basically our entire educations until this revolution of student-centered teaching came through. Basically, the thing I like about it is when I have to explain something complex to my students, like, for example, chemical reactions, I can talk a little bit and then I can give them an activity. And then I can talk a little bit, couple of slides, and then give them an activity. And then I can actually live preview what are they learning, what are they remembering. This is a really great way to kind of spice up, in my opinion, the least exciting part for students of your classroom, which is the direct instruction part. So it might be easier if I just show you. So I'm going to put this in the chat as well, but you can also go to the slides if you have them, and the bit.ly is up in the top left-hand corner, and find this link, or you can go to join.nearpod.com and enter the code TF4C2. We're going to do a quick little demo of this class, and I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to the Nearpod website to access my presentation, and the code was TF4C2. So I'm going to actually open this presentation right now. Link for slides again. Yes. Hold on just a second. It's going to be HTTPS. Oh, thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. And this slideshow is unique to this presentation. So when you see the video link later, it's going to be that just for our presentation and this one that we're recording right now. All right. So this is probably what you'll see when you get into the app. It just kind of looks like a slideshow. And there's, let's see, right now I have 4 participants. I can see your names right here. There we go. I got 6 participants now. Sometimes during distance learning, just because of Google Meet and all of the server load, we do have some slow connections and people aren't able to join as well. It works better in the classroom. I'm just going to say that right now, having used Nearpod for distance learning and also in my regular science classrooms, I find that it does work a lot better when everyone's in the same room together. So we'll have to be a little bit flexible with that. So cool. So I can see who's here. I've got 11 here. By the way, I'm not going to make everyone join if you don't want to join, because I will also be showing the teacher view. So what you'll see on the screen that I'm presenting here in the chat is going to be what teachers see and students don't see. So I get to see information that my students are not going to see. And I want you to be able to see what both of those things are. So if you would rather just watch and you don't want to participate, that's okay too. Jose, are you in? Let me check. I see you. Yeah.
Okay, I see myself there now. I guess we just had to open the link, right, and put our name in.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a couple of ways you can join. So the code thing is one way to do it, but the direct link, which is what I posted in the chat, is my favorite way, and I use those to integrate with my Google Classroom. So the students just click the link and they're in. All right, I got 13 in. Is anyone still struggling to get in? You can unmute yourself. Otherwise, I may get started. And one of the great things when kids are late and we're already signed in, they can click the link and join in the middle of the lesson. So that's no problem. It's not closed when I start. So if you had trouble getting in, one more time, I'm going to post that direct sign in link, and let's just get started. Okay, so you'll notice if you're on your device or on a window in your computer, when I click the start, the slide switches for you. You don't have the ability to move back and forth in the slides, so you're not going to be going back and forth and previewing the lesson. If you get bored, whatever, the screen is right there in front of you. So we're going to start with a poll. This is a little bit of SEL. I like to do this with my students because if I know what mood they're in, I know how we got to be. If we're in a bad mood today, I can say, all right, well, we need to be very careful how we speak to people and the kindness that we use when we talk to others and being patient. If we're all doing great, that's awesome too. So this is the student view. This is what you see. I'm going to switch over to teacher view. If you want to come back in the chat and see what I have, I can see everyone's name and I can see their response status. Also on the left-hand side, I can see the popularity of the responses and I see a little pie chart. So now I know what my overall participation is. Students love to hear stats like this, by the way. At least my students do. When I'm like, hey, guys, we got 92% participation in this question. That's awesome. You know, the last class was 82%. Look at you guys, you know, and then they kind of like they like to see data about their learning. It's interesting. It's true, though. So I got about 85%. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press the share button in the center. When I click on it, that shows up on your screen. So what you'll see right now, if you're logged into the Nearpod, is you're going to see that pie chart that shows how you're doing today, how everyone's doing. It looks like we're mostly pretty good. Some of us are awesome and some of us are okay. Fair enough. So good. That's that. I'm going to move on. All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of teacher thinking work to do. So I'll give you some time on this one. But I've got a quote that is relevant to this training, which is one of the most powerful ways to engage students is to let them take charge of their own learning. So the question I have for you is, how have you seen this done in the classroom? Or what are some things that you've done in the classroom that help students take charge of their own learning? It's pretty open, but you're going to see right now. And again, I'm on teacher mode, so I can see the answers that have been given, if any. And I can also see the participation. Of course, with these kinds of questions, you give the students some time. So I'm going to give you, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to write something quick. And for the student mode, if you're not in the presentation and you just kind of want to see what it looks like, there's a little block to enter your answer and a little blue button that says submit. And here I can include things. I can have it do text to speech, which is really cool. When I'm doing the question, I actually have the ability to use bold, italics, bullet points, all of that stuff. I often put frames in this section as well, because students like to use frames. So cool. Right now I have 21% participation. And I can see the answers. I've got one from Aaron, from Johnson, from Kelly, which is awesome. So if I see Aaron's comment right here, I'm going to click on it, having open discussions in class. I like that. I want everyone to see it. So if you're typing right now, don't freak out. Your typing is not going to go away. Well, it is going to go away really quick, but it's going to come right back. If I press share, whoops, there we go. It shows up on your screen. Until it shows up on your screen, nobody can see it. So if somebody writes something wrong or rude, I don't have to show that. I have the control to share what I want to share. Often with these kinds of questions, what I'll do is I'll take half the time or wait until 50 to 60% of students have responded. And then I'll share a couple of responses that I like. I might say the name of the student who wrote it. I don't have to because the name doesn't show up. But then that gives some of the students who are a little slower to respond a little extra time to write and a few ideas to kind of bounce off of to get themselves going. And I find that that increases the amount of participation that I get. So um, let's see. Ooh, I've got this one right here. Sometimes I will prepare 2 activities to let classes vote for which option they prefer. So they choose different activities and get to be individual. Cool. That's awesome. So there's a lot of cool stuff being said here. And since this is a demonstration, I'm not going to go over all the stuff that I've seen, but
Mr. Elliott,
yes.
I have a quick question because I was going back and forth between the student and teacher mode. I see how to share like one student answer. Is it possible to anonymously share multiple answers at once?
In fact, only one at a time can be shared. So that is one limitation. Yeah. That is a good question though, because I also find that Nearpod's customer service is really responsive. I've made a few suggestions to them in the last couple of years that they've actually taken into consideration, and some changes have even been made this last year. So that's something I'm going to add a question about. I'm going to talk to them after I'm done with this session. So sharing multiple open-ended at a time. That's a good question. But yeah, so right now you can only share one at a time. It's anonymous if you choose for it to be anonymous. At the bottom of the screen, it says show student names and answers. So if I do that, then I would show the student's name. I prefer to have control over that. So let's move on to the next thing. All right, so this is called a draw it. And it's good to keep these simple because students will use their trackpad to draw a picture. So what do you need more of to help you engage with students this year? Let me start by doing a little demonstration. I can choose different colors of the marker. I can make it larger or smaller. What I need this year is a good attitude. So I'm going to draw me somewhat happy. I'm going to use this marker and I'm going to do a little rainbow. Why not? Do some Bob Ross here. Happy little rainbow. And I can even add text. I can put this text box here and I can just click and write good vibes. That's what I need. All right, and when I'm done with that, I could press submit. As a teacher, in teacher mode, I can see pictures that people are drawing. And I can also share those pictures by clicking on the picture and share. And you'll notice that some of these are yellow, and the yellow means that the student's in progress, and it will say in progress. Green means that the picture is submitted, which means that person is done. So I can look around and I can see what I've got. I've got Miss Warden's picture. I'm going to share it. If I press share, it shows up on your screen. Miss Warden needs a little bit of we need a little bit of love for our students. Maybe that's what you're saying. I appreciate that. Okay. And so, yeah, I can see everything and I can share a few things. It's another way to engage students, especially our language learners, our SWDs who might communicate with like visually with pictures more so than writing a sentence, although you can do both, obviously. Okay, I'm going to give it one more minute. I see some of us are getting fancy with our drawings. So I'm going to let you finish. So one more minute. And then I've got maybe 3 more activities that I want to show you. Although that's not everything, that's enough to kind of give you a picture of what it looks like, what it feels like to be doing this activity with students. All right, 20 seconds more. And I do apologize if I cut off your artistic moment, but I do want to make sure that we have, after we have a chance to get the activity, we get a chance to see what else we can do. So in 10 seconds, I am going to end. If you want to submit your drawing, just get used to that feeling of actually pushing the submit button. Yes, the link is here at the bottom. Estella has a good point. You can do this on your phone or on another device if you would like to just have the chat in front of you and you could see the teacher mode and do that. I meant to say that and I forgot. But there's the link if you need it. And you can also see on the hyperlink, it says pin equals TF4C2. So you could go to Nearpod and just enter those codes if that's easier than grabbing a link off of here. And it'll take you into this exact presentation. All right, we're going to move on. Thank you for your lovely drawings, everyone. Why is this loading? Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is a collaborate board and it's taking a long time to load. All right. So from a student perspective, it would look like this, and it looks the same for you. I have instructions. I can minimize them if I want to. And I have students seeing names, edit responses, and approving their own posts turned off. Although you can do that if you trust your students. I like to let myself approve the comments before, because every once in a while someone will put a rude one in. These are options that you have in Padlet as well. This works very similar to a Padlet. So what's the first thing you think of when I say that the first day of classroom instruction is August 3rd, 2022? I'm going to add a GIF here. I'm going to look for a shocked image. This guy. Uh-oh, an error has occurred. I think my connection is low as well. Let's do this one. Okay, so if I press that right now, it shows up. All right. I can do that. I can also just add text. Where did my summer go? This is a great way to, obviously, if you've used Padlet, you know that this is a great way to help students share ideas really quickly. And again, you have the option when you create the question to make it so that you approve the post before the students actually get to see their image posted up there, just to keep them honest and keep them clean. I also like to sometimes not like delete posts that are incorrect information. Like if someone's sharing an idea that's like, oh yeah, good job, but that's actually not true. Just to keep students from reading and learning the wrong idea. So there's GIFs and images and text. However, you also can open it up to letting students post audio recordings and things. I have it turned on so that you can like things. And so this is another way to just kind of like, hey, I really like these responses. So I can give it a like. And you can also arrange these things from the most to the least likes, so that when something gets liked, it gets moved up. So you can see Constance's happy smiley face has got 2 likes, so therefore it's at the top. And then these ones that have 1 are here. So yeah, that's what this one is. All right, 30 seconds more, and then we're gonna move on to the next. And I believe there's just 2 more activities I want to show you for this demonstration. And we're looking pretty good with the time, I think. I like that one, Kelly. All right, some of us are excited about school starting with no dread at all. That's wonderful. All right, cool. So we're gonna move on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and you'll notice that things are moving at the pace that I choose. When I say we're done with the activity, we move on, and there's nobody that's still there trying to finish because they didn't finish, and they think that every single thing that they do ends up on the grade book. And so they're over here and they're not listening while you're telling the next instruction. Everyone moves at the same time, which is cool. There's also an option for student-paced presentations. I'll show you how to do that too. But let's do a quick game. So this is just like Kahoot. So you have these options that are similar to stuff we've used in the classroom. There is a video option that's very similar to Edpuzzle. There's presentation boards that are like Padlet. And then there's this, which is like a Kahoot. And then there's, there's the drawing thing, which is somewhat similar to Kami, where you can make annotations and things. But it's all in one place. Students don't have to go and find different links and click on them. So it gives it a little more speed in the classroom. So this is a game. This is the teacher menu when it comes up for me after it loads. These ones are notorious when we're doing them over a Google Meet to be a little glitchy. So this might take a second. Again, this works way better in the physical classroom where everyone's connection is the same. But I can choose different backgrounds. There's all kinds of stuff. Let's do underwater. I can put this to randomize the answers. I can pause between question for discussion, but I'm just going to have this run. Sound on all student devices, I'll turn that on, but in the classroom, you might want to turn that off so that not everybody in the classroom has the song going off at the same time, and it can just play on your own computer screen. So we're launching. All right. As a teacher, I see when you've chosen your character and you join. I know that I have 15 students in the game right now, so I'll wait for 15 students to connect. Okay, and you could see these cute little foxes and bears and penguins in their little underwater suits. The gimmick behind this game is you answer questions to walk up the hill, and the person who gets the highest up the hill is the winner. And you'll see a list of rankings and things. So just like Kahoot or quizzes, or I'm sure there's other ones that I don't know about yet. It's just a game to engage students in what they've learned, to be an opportunity to pass out. Like at La Paz, we have Panther Bucks. I know we have PBIS rewards at all of our sites, I believe, or just incentives in the classroom, or just shouting out to the person who made it all the way to the top. All right, I've got 14 connected. We may have lost connection, one of our players, so I'm going to start in the next, unless somebody tells me that they're still trying to get in. Nope. Okay, let's start. So not wanting to make this too difficult, I went ahead and just found a 5th grade time to climb on math dividing by 10. So hopefully I'm sure we all know how to do that. And you can actually create your own questions, or you can just take something from the many subjects that they already have. And I'll show you that as well in a little bit. So let's just do this right now. All right, first question. So I can see the leaderboards. You guys are going to see the questions. Question 1 of 4, 10 divided by 10. This is like, are you smarter than a 5th grader kind of thing. So all this stuff is customizable, images, how much time students have to answer, things like that. I'll show you how that works. Okay. And we can see rankings. Next question. There's 4 questions in this one, just to keep it short. And I can see the live status of students' responses. I can see how many got it right and how many picked a different one. So I can talk about the distractor that students were most distracted by. And that's, if I have the setting on to pause between, we can discuss the answers to the questions too, which is an extra moment for teacher check-in. Okay, we got one more question after this. We'll see which of you is the best math person. All right, we've got one more question. Here we go. And time's up. So shout out to Megan, Bill, and Marilyn for being in 1st through 3rd place. We've got Elizabeth and Jessica in 4th and 5th. Very nice. At this point in time, that ends this demo presentation. By the way, I got this template from SlidesGo, which is a really great way to kind of app smash and give yourself a template for working with. So you have something that looks nice. I didn't arrange all of these images. I just found them for free on this website. And there's 2 ways that I can end this presentation. The first one is I can go to the menu and click End Session. That's going to close the session and close the code so it's not accessible anymore. The other thing I can do is I can click this back button, and this is leaving the session. And if I leave the session, the code is still good for 2 weeks. So I could pause in the middle at any time during the presentation and say, okay, we're going to finish the rest of this tomorrow. Like if we have a classroom activity to get to, or it's getting close to the bell and we need to move on. So I can do that, but I'm actually going to end this session because we are done. So this ends it for you. You can close the Nearpod tab because we're done with this. And I'm going to stay in this Nearpod later because I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to show you right now. On the Nearpod website, we have a record of everything that we just did. So when we close the session, we save the progress. And if I go in the menu, so this is the Nearpod demo, and you can, as you can see, I have used Nearpod a lot for my classrooms in the last couple of years, different science subjects. But looking at this, I'm going to go to the 3 dots in the right-hand corner, and I'm going to click Reports. And when I click Reports, I can see that there have been 3 sessions. All right. The session from, it's going to be the session that I made the code on. So I believe this is the one that's July 19th. Let's just see if this is right. I'm going to click on it. Okay, yeah, so here we go. I can see total participation, and then I can see participation in the different types of activities. So I had, for example, I had 73% participation in my open-ended question. But if I want to see the actual things that people said, like I remember that Aaron said something that I thought was cool. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for that. Oh, here we go. Having open discussion in class. So I have the prompt up here, and underneath I have the answers that were given. and that's saved forever. And I can go to the different options for what we had.
Mr. Elliott, if a student doesn't push submit, will their partial answer show up there?
It should show up, but I think it will show that they did not complete the activity, if that makes sense.
So that basically
So,
it wouldn't count toward the percentage, but I could see their answer.
I believe so. Let's just look at this. Oh, actually, no, it looks like, because it looks like I'm looking at the drawing one, and it looks like it was not submitted. So the ones that were not submitted are not going to show up.
Thank you.
So, okay, yeah. So that is the situation with that. The other thing that you can do here is, let me just go back, and I'm going to talk about how I use this in the classroom. So now we're talking about data. We're going to talk about how would I take something like this. I'm going to go to the main menu. How would I take something like this and make a presentation for my students? So the way that this works is you want to generate a code for each of the classes. And the way that I do that is by putting my mouse over the presentation I want to use, and I can create a live participation or a student-paced participation. The live participation is what we just did, where I control it and I move through it and the students follow along with me. And then the student-paced participation is like, you could do this as an extension activity. If a student's, finishing their work really early, you can have some extra stuff for them to do. And you would give them a student-paced link, which means they move the slides as they go through, and they have control. So those are the two kinds of links you can do. Once I click on it, I have the option of restarting a presentation that I've already created or launch a new one. What I like to do is make a code for each of my classrooms. So if I'm teaching 5 periods of the same subject and I want them all to go through this Nearpod, I'll make 5 codes. And I usually use Google Slides to track the different codes. Say like, okay, period 1 is this code, and on a new slide, period 2 is this code. And here are all the sharing options. I can turn on a co-teacher link if I want this link to go to a co-teacher because I want them to have control too. I have Google Classroom. I can create an assignment through Google Classroom instantly. I can email it to students, or I can also copy the link. And I like to copy the link and just post it to my Google Classroom before the class starts and tell the students, go ahead and click that link. It's in Google Classroom. And then they join automatically. Using the code as well is another way of doing it. Okay. So then this is me pausing the session. I can say yes to pause it, and I can resume it later. All right. One more thing that I'd like to talk about. We are now in the part where I'm going to explain how I use the Google Slides add-on to create something. And I have, for the purposes of this, and you can actually see one of these as well, I have made a copy of the presentation we just did so that we could look at it. The reason why I made a copy is because I didn't want to ruin the codes I have active. If I edit a lesson, it's going to destroy the old code, so I'll have to do it again. So you want to check before you get started to make sure that you have everything the way that you want it. So let's look into, you could get to my add-ons. All right. If you want to follow along with me and you have not done so yet, you'll need to go to Get Add-ons and search for Nearpod. And you can just click to add it to your Google Slides. And now I have it in my add-ons already. So I'm going to click Open Nearpod. And let's say I want to add an activity after this first slide. Going to take a minute for it to open up. The first time you open up this add-on, it's probably going to make you log in. So I have logged in using my school email address. Like I said, we have a district-wide license for Nearpod, so you have full access to the product and how it works. I can turn this slide into a draw it by just clicking convert to draw it. And let me show you what that looks like, actually. There we go. Okay, it's going really slow. I think we might come back to that in a little bit. All right, let's say I want to add something like, for example, you can see all the options here. Integrates with vocabulary, with Flipgrid, with PhET simulations, by the way, if you're a science teacher. You can actually add a PhET simulation and embed it directly into your Nearpod, which is cool. Let's talk video, because that was something I said that we had. When I click on it, it creates a space for me to add or edit a slide. And let's say, I'm just thinking like a science teacher. Let's say I want to look at what science subject they already have at Nearpod. And I'm just going to click science. And last year I taught 7th grade science. So I can look at all these different subjects that already exist in this video format, which is really cool. I can preview them. But I can also go to YouTube and I can add something like, for example, one that I like to use a lot, ecological relationships, the amoeba sisters. All right, so I would add this, press save. And the video is added here. Now I can also go through to different parts and I can add an activity, like an open-ended question or a multiple choice question. So this is just like Edpuzzle, but again, you don't have to assign a separate assignment. You can have the students do everything in one spot. So if I press save, eventually, someday it will save. It's growing a little bit slow today.
So Stephen, oh, sorry.
Go to Google Slides and try to add the extension. It says no results found. Oh. If you could hold on for just about 10 minutes, when I get into the work session, I'd love to try and help you. And if maybe you could share your screen and I could see what's going on there, because that shouldn't be that way. All right, so this is not, we're having technical difficulties today. So this is not a great introduction to Nearpod. I don't know why it's acting this way today, but I'm going to actually, okay. So there's my video. It's saved. For some reason, it was telling me it hadn't. So the thing that I can also do, there we go. If I want to change, for example, my question, I can go to edit this slide. So you'll notice I can convert to a draw it by just taking the slide that I like and just changing it. But then I can also edit something I already created by clicking edit this slide. And when I click on it, okay. Edpuzzle, we got some questions here. Does Edpuzzle use videos and Nearpod uses slides? Edpuzzle is a video application, but Nearpod has the opportunity for all these, including video. So you can integrate a video directly into a Nearpod. So let's say that I want to, I've got this question, answer the following questions. What is the image depicting? And I don't know, how can I use this in my everyday life. Just if we were doing a question like this, like a bell ringer or a question, I can go in and I can add an image. I can do things like I can search Google, science, or an image, say, of an animal cell. Now that image is saved and students can access it. I can also turn on an option for enabling student audio recordings. And I can add a timer if I want to make it a little bit snappy or give the students an idea of how much time they have to complete. All right. So those are options, and then you can go back and edit any activity that you've created before. Let's see. So I wanted to show you guys something with this time to climb because I really love this. This is a recent thing that they did change in the last year, is that they have a library of these now. So this is the wrong one. Edit this slide. I'm thinking we're having a bad internet day. I see people getting kicked out and coming back in. Sorry about that. And this is going very slowly. Okay, so there's a time to climb library. I can click the filters button, and I can search for my subject. Let's say I want to do social studies, 8th grade. Let's try that. And whoops, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. There are let me do that again real quick. Okay, so if I click the filter and I do, let's go back to social studies, 8th grade, and then I press apply, then I have different subjects. They are loading slowly. Again, without the added server load of a Google Meet and me video recording right now, I'm sure these will load a little bit faster. But let's just say this one says it's the Bill of Rights. So let's say we're doing the Bill of Rights. We're going to go replace. Okay, and I see there are 6 questions. I can change all of the options if I want. I can move and reorder them. I can do this however I like. I can add a reference image if I want. I can copy something and reword it slightly if I want to change and add a new question. I can also change the amount of time the students have to answer. So there's a lot of customizability, and I can add an extra question. So I've got the text here. I can use math notations as well. It goes pretty advanced. And I can make it so that the students choose text answers, or I can make it so that they choose an image. So like which image shows a decomposer, for example, in the science world. All right, and when I'm done, I didn't do anything with that, so I'm going to delete that question. When I'm done, I save it, and now I have my game, my activity. It's nice to create things that you can reuse over and over again because it takes some time to create these. But I have a really nice library of Nearpods that I've created over the last couple of years, being a 7th grade science teacher, and I get to reuse them, modify them slightly when I need to, and they've been a great, valuable resource for me. So yeah, so I think where we're at right now, oh, I did forget to the last thing that you're supposed to do, excuse me, I didn't do that, is the thing that we changed. All these changes need to be saved in Nearpod. So the last thing that you're going to do to end is press save and go to Nearpod. Then it takes you to the Nearpod website where you can create codes for students to do the activities. As licensed members as well, we do have access to the Nearpod library. And you can see on my left-hand side that I can click on that. I'm going to wait till this finishes saving. Someday, there we go. And now I can go to live participation or student paste. I can make my codes. I can also preview so I can see what it'll look like for students. If I go to the Nearpod library, once again, I can filter by standards. I can filter by grade, by subject, and find there might be something already that's made that I could use if I'm struggling for something. These are actually really nice for substitute lessons because the students have activities to do, and it's not just sit there, read the article, answer the questions, that kind of thing. So anyway, these slides exist. I'm not going to go over them because I went over them in the presentation part, but just in case you need to remember, how did he do this? How did he do that? These slides are just there for reference. Of course, you could always email me or hit me up on Google Chat. I'm more than happy to help you with that. Also, you want to note that you can access Nearpod through Clever. It's one of the things that we have licenses for, so you can find it on your Clever. And the add-on Nearpod for Google Slides, if you've got it installed, then you're able to just go straight into creating something, which is what we're going to want to do for the rest of our time. The session we have is from 10 to 12:15. So there is a space for a break, and I want to give you guys that break if you have need of one. But if you want to just power through and start working on things, that's what this time is for. And I'm here to answer questions, guide you through anything you need to do to get started. Looks like we got about 15 minutes plus the break, even with technology issues. Yeah, so this is your time. There's the bit.ly evaluation at the bottom, linked at the bottom of this slide. This is slide number 15, by the way. Please do fill that out with feedback. And we appreciate that very much. So yeah, the time is yours, and I'll be here until 12:15. Let me know what you need. All right. Just for the benefit, I know there was somebody who was having trouble with the add-on. Let me just show you what I see when I go in, and if there's still an issue, then I will help that person. So when I go to get add-ons, the menu shows up eventually, 3 to 5 business days. So slow today. There we go. All right. And then if I search, I can search Nearpod. And what shows up should be Nearpod for Google Slides. And it says installed for me. And I could uninstall it, but I don't want to do that. So that should be where you find it and how you integrate it in. Again, the first time you do it, it is probably going to ask you to sign in with Google. And if you do sign in with Google, then you'll be able to access the questions as I have.
Okay, so where's the Google Workspace? I went directly to Slides and then tried to add the extension there.
Okay, would you be comfortable sharing your screen so I can see what you're looking for? If you're able, I'm not sure what's on your screen right now, but if you could share it, I could help you figure that out. Okay, so you're in Edpuzzle right now. If you're on Google Slides, can you either open a tab or go back to where it says the slides that you have there? Okay, here we go. All right. Can you open a tab to Google Slides? So I don't know what this is. This is just looks like a blank screen. Okay, so from here, go to where it says add-ons on the menu, right after tools. So it goes file, edit, view, insert. Yeah, add-ons. Go to get add-ons. There we go. All right. From there, oh, look, it's right there on the front. Nearpod for Google Slides. Yay. All right, press install. I think that should be it. All right, and this is installed in Chrome, so now it's installed in everything that's your school, that's connected to your school account. So your Chromebook, your computer in your office, all of that stuff. The first time you open it, it is going to ask you to sign in. So you sign in with your school email. Yes, I will add the links for presentation and sign in right there below. Estella, there you go. Yeah, and I'm still, for this troubleshooting session, I am still going to be recording. I'm going to stop towards the end of the session. And when that's all processed, I'm going to put that, by the way, let me just reshare my screen here. I'm going to put that in the slide right after, I think right after this one. No, right after this one, the session resources. So the demo slides that I used are linked here. There's a link to email me even throughout the year. I'm an ed tech. It's my job to help teachers integrate technology into their classroom. So I'm more than happy to do a Google Meet with you or answer a question via email, whatever you need to make this work. And this video is going to be linked at the bottom here after it finishes processing today. Estella, you have a question?
Hi, Steve. Thank you for such a great presentation. I'm wondering, I'm returning into the back into the classroom after some time away, and I'm wondering what resources are available. It seems like a lot for the ELD 1s and 2s, but in your experience, what features might you start or might I start off with to support? Is there anything with language or ELD lessons or
Are you
Have you seen?
looking specifically for content, or are you looking for like
Well, I
what
think
features of the product would I use?
I would think content, and more than anything, just your input on how you've seen, EL teachers use it. Um,
Sure. Okay, well, first of all, if I'm going to go talk about content really quick, I'm in the Nearpod website. Again, you go through Clever and you can find this, or you can also go to nearpod.com, sign in with your school email. It'll take you right here. And we have access to the Nearpod library. So this is one place that I can go. I can go down to, um, so like if I want to go to English language arts, for example, this is one of the subjects. Um, You can find something that you like and edit it from here too. So we have Nearpods, we've got lessons, full lessons. If I click add to my lessons, then I can edit it and make my own version, or I can preview it here just to see what it looks like. So this is to the question of content. Um, the other thing that I'm encouraging teachers to do is we have a district library, but I think there's nothing inside it right now. Um, After you make your lessons, you can actually add content to the district library. So if there's something great that you create or that another teacher creates, you this is not loading, but last time I remember it was blank because I looked to see if there was anything in there and we hadn't added anything. So that's a resource that we can build for each other. When it comes to activities, I find ELs are very supported by certain features of Nearpod kind of inherently. Um, for example, the with the open-ended questions, I can go into, and let me just go into the edit mode here on my Google Slides. If I'm doing an open-ended question, which writing is always a struggle for ELs, right? Let me just open this Nearpod, and I'm gonna talk about the ways that I would add things that can help ELs. So obviously, the fact that they can write anonymously, they can be typing at their computer, may give them a little more confidence to be able to take some risks. The fact that you can see what they write before showing it to anyone else is also great. This is a fully customizable text sent. So if I have a student who needs to see text larger, I can make it larger. I can bold, italicize. I can also emphasize certain words, like I'm gonna emphasize the word powerful. These things I find help students who struggle with reading, but as well as I can add an image. I can add an audio recording with instructions. I can add frames and sentence starters, just the regular stuff we do for instruction underneath. And I do that often so that students know where to start. For students with really lots of needs, I can also flip this switch to enable student audio recordings. So the student can record their voice saying the answer if writing is a very big problem, if they have accommodations in the case of like an SWD to be able to take tests verbally or whatever, then this is another option. And I have used that before. Most students will just type, but there are some students who have used the audio recording. So
with the audio recording, will it show what they're typing? Is it like a
well,
speech to text
it
or no?
doesn't go speech to text, but of course through Google Chrome you can enable speech to text, and I do believe that it works. I know text to speech works because my students would do it all the time when I was doing Nearpod. It's a little bit annoying, but they that does work, and I think you can enable it through Chrome to allow students to click the frame and then just start talking. I would have to do some research to figure out how to do this, but I or your site EdTech would be a great resource, someone to reach out to with how do I set up, how do I get the students to install the extension that they need or whatever, so that they can do text to speech to text. But yeah, that should be possible.
Great. Thank you.
So yeah, that's one of the things. And just having a variety of activities where students can show their learning by maybe drawing a picture, um, or doing a drag and drop, kind of helps them build their confidence if they're struggling. And then the fact that you can share answers, I love to share good answers. So there's always a kid who finishes in the first 30 seconds and just writes this thing, and there's no notes. It's fantastic. Well, in that case, that person gets to be my example. And I say, hey, check out this great answer from this student. And other students can see it on their screen. And struggling students might say, oh, I could say something like that, you know? And then you end up getting more responses. So I don't know if there's more to that question that I can answer.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Oh yeah, Jose's helping you out as well in the comments there. Yeah, that's great. There are a lot of resources, particularly the apps that we have through Clever. There have been teachers that have been building those lessons for many years that we've had it. Nearpod is pretty new, so we don't have as many teacher-created resources, which I'm hoping that we can build that this year. Also, it's a good thing to note that because this integrates with Google Slides, if you have slideshow presentations, even PowerPoints, you can convert them to Google Slides very easily and just add the activities, the questions that you would ask, or the things you would like students to do to those old presentations, and you can make them new. So if you have those older resources after many years of being out of the classroom, there's an opportunity to just turn them into something a little extra. Hello, Andre. Sorry you got kicked out. It happens if you remember. You may be having trauma from distance learning if you were with us during that time. Meet kicks people out all the time. Just so we're aware, the session goes until 12:15. However, if internet's not working very well for you, it may be useful to spend some time out of this meet also working on the Nearpod. And if you have questions coming back in, if you do need to leave for some reason, I would really much appreciate if you could fill out the session feedback form that I just put in the chat. It's also on the slides. And then use your time how you need to use it. If that ends up being offline because the internet's not working very well for you, that's fine. I'll still be here until 12:15 if you need to jump in for a question. Just trying to be flexible with technology being how technology is sometimes. So yeah, just please, if you would, fill out the evaluation for this session if you have to go, because I do take feedback very seriously and I like to use it to improve myself, as well as the team that's putting on this event likes to make sure that we're always presenting stuff that's relevant to teachers. So that's where you can give that feedback. One more time in the chat.